y'all. Welcome back. So I know that everyone who listens to Business First Creatives does not follow me along to listen to all of my guest episodes when I appear on other people's podcasts. But I was recently on Alora Rachelle's podcast, and literally in the middle of talking to her, I was like, oh no, shut up. You'll just come talk about this on my podcast. Now, I don't actually know that we're going to talk about what I identified I wanted to have a chat with her about when my episode aired on her podcast, but I am super excited to talk to her because I don't know where this conversation is going, but I do know it's going to be super fucking spicy. Alora, welcome to my podcast.
I'm so excited to be here, Coley. This is amazing. I love listening to your podcast. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. It can go, you told me it's going to go a million different ways, so I'm here for the ride. It's going to go a million
different ways. Well, I want to start with pricing because I am currently, when this is being recorded, I am in the middle of a sales series where the whole purpose was to help people talk confidently about their offers. And before we hit record, you and I were discussing something that I'm like, yes, this is a problem that not enough people highlight. So let's talk about the messy middle. Because when I talk about the messy middle, I am always referring to your systems. I am typically talking about after someone has paid you, but before you've actually performed the service, there's like this period where a lot of photographers and creatives just go silent. It's like, ooh, I did all of this work to get you to pay me the money. And now I'm not doing anything with you until I'm ready to do the service. But your messy middle is about pricing. So first, tell me why you think that there is a messy middle for wedding photographers. And then I'm going to expand that to other genres and services.
Let's do it. So when we were discussing what we were going to talk about, it was a lot of different things. But my hot take is essentially, I think that the middle is actually disappearing when it comes to pricing. I don't know what has caused this. I think with the rise of inflation, the audience has changed. Gen Z's getting married now, and maybe they're just all or nothing instead of the in-between. But I'm noticing that either you're going to have to stay in the 3 to 5K forever, possibly be burned out, maybe have a team that's even cheaper, or leap into luxury. Couples are not really booking that 6 to 8K range like they used to. I don't know. I feel like people value what is high priced. We value premium, and they call that a little bit of a recession indicator. We're all about quality, and I don't know. I just think that you either need to make the decision of okay, am I going to stay in this 3 to 5K range? Do I like my business? Do I like being burned out? Do I like whatever it is you're dealing with, the couples, the clients, their many demands? Or are you going to leap into luxury? Now, you don't have to necessarily triple your prices like I did. That was insane. But the whole point is not staying in that 6 to 8K for long. Don't camp out there. Don't live there. Try to see if you can elevate with every single wedding to 10K proposals. And I've been helping my students do that. This past year, we just had a student went from 5K. She delivered an 11K proposal this month, which she didn't even know she could do. So it's definitely possible. I think couples are saying their investment or their budget is lower, but if you can kind of showcase the value and walk them through what a premium service looks like, they're willing to invest more. They might surprise you.
They might surprise you. And I think, because I don't have many conversations about wedding photographers, which is why I wanted to get in this with you, because I have had this same conversation with many family photographers and then more recently brand photographers. But we're talking about vastly different price ranges. Way back when I started my business in 2012, and then going in probably until 2014, 2015, that magic number for family photographers, you're going to laugh, was $500. There was this really weird place where if you were under 500, you were budget. And if you were right at 500, you just weren't booking, because people who wanted premium experiences for their family photography were paying something closer to 1,000. And all of the budget people were no, you're more than 250. I don't want to look at you. So I do think that this is a really interesting conversation, not just for wedding photographers, but for creative service providers as a whole. And we can see that the pricing slider, if you will, has changed dramatically, because now I would argue that that $500 mark 10 years ago is now $1,000 mark for, like, let's say family photographers, and for brand photographers, it's even higher.
Actually, I was a senior and family photographer, but not like established really. And I remember being stuck in this 150 flat price forever. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like 150. Yeah, I'll just pay 150. And I'm like shooting there for 3 hours. I'm delivering hundreds of images of the baby doing the same thing, walking back and forth from the tree to the dandelions. And I'm like, this can't be my life. This can't be my life. And I eventually raised my prices to 500, but I actually found myself burnt out at 500 because that felt like that almost premium, but like the family cares more. So I know what you mean in terms of like that pricing range. But yeah, I do think that pricing is definitely perceived value on top of all the things that keeps us running our business, right? Our expenses and how much we want to pay. But like also, don't forget to take into account the way that your clients and couples will perceive the value of your service with your pricing, and not just the way you present it, but like what they're expecting to pay. What does the service include? So pricing just goes into so many things. It's not just a decision to slap a number up there because you traveled to a new state and you're like, this is what everybody's paying. It's so much more psychological and convoluted. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm typically coaching people through systems and your perceived value, because, like I've always said, if you have shitty systems, you're not going to be able to sell a premium product, regardless what the product is. If you're designing a website, if you're selling wedding photography, if you're doing family photography, your systems have to match your brand perspective and the pricing and what it is that you're trying to deliver. Your systems are so intertwined with how your clients will perceive the value. And I think that's where, when I talk about the messy middle, I'm often talking about, you can't have really good systems going into getting the money and then all of a sudden you disappear. It's like you're ghosting your own clients at the moment that they've actually said yes to you, and you should actually be turning up the heat, if you will. But let's take one step back, because I feel like you and I probably have a very similar perspective in how we are coaching the people that we help. And that is, I get a lot of people that like are unable to say that premium price. They're like, well, no, I mean, no one's going to pay that. Or when I'm trying to get them to like just say the price out loud, they struggle. And then my perspective is always throw it on a proposal. So how do you coach your people through like taking the leap to, you know, just slap the number on, send it and see what happens? Because I love a good experiment. And I'm like, if you send it out and they say no, that's data. Like, let's look at that and let's try it again.
Oh my gosh, we have the same approach, except I do it for them on a call. I'm like, okay, this is what you're charging. This is what's included. This is a mess. This is a mess. You're not even driving me anywhere. Like, we do like a three package system. And if they do a flat rate, then we kind of work out kind of them like walking through the value, of course, of like the whole experience and why it's a flat rate. But in terms of 3 packages, I'm always like, the second package should be that sweet spot. The highest package, everything in the kitchen sink, what you could never dream of charging, right? It should be a steal, in my opinion. I think when you book the highest package, it should not be your popular package. It should be something that you're actually terrified to charge, but has the perfect amount of perceived value and premium, not services, but like premium offerings. The first package should have basically nothing. That's your get out of bed rate, in my opinion. You're willing to get out of bed for this. You don't have a second shooter. You don't have anything special in there. You don't even want them to really book this package. Maybe it's a weekday package, some of them. They're like, I only kind of want 2. That's fine. I'm trying to weave you in the second to third. And then eventually I look at their packages and then I say, great, let's add 2,000. They're like, I can't do that. I'm like, why not? Let's talk about it. Well, what's the story about money? Let's go back. Go back to when you couldn't afford like gum for 25 cents or whatever somebody told you. And I like your whole thing of saying it out loud, because every time I say, oh, by the end of this year, you'll be charging like 8 to 10K. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you believe in me. I was like, I do. I said, but I work as hard as you do. Are you willing to put in the work? And it's like, yeah, no, I would love to book less. I would love to make more. I want my weekends back. I'm like, great. So let's slap it on a proposal. Give them 2 offerings after you get off the call, customize something, and then do something absolutely crazy and astronomical. Sometimes they book it. You don't know. They may surprise you. They may surprise you.
I mean, you should always be offering someone one level higher than what they say that they want, because if there's
Mm-hmm.
something in there that they hadn't really considered or that, would potentially bust their budget, but that it is something that they aspire to have, even if they don't book it then, you've put it in front of them. And I mean, especially with a wedding, you don't photograph them in most cases for at least a year. And so you've
Mm-hmm.
given them like months to kind of noodle on the fact that, yes, they booked your middle package, but what if circumstances change and they really are able to make the higher budget package work for them so that they can get that thing that they didn't know that they wanted, but that now that you've put it in front of them, they can't stop thinking about.
It's almost like FOMO in a way of like, well, you could have this. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they'll be like, we're just trying to work some things out. Like, can we still upgrade to that package later? And that's your decision to make. But I would never say no to more money. Like, that's crazy, especially in this economy. But there are just so many things that go into pricing. And I feel like the biggest thing, like the biggest mindset shift is being like, somebody's going to pay.
Someone will say yes.
Someone will say yes. Somebody out here is charging this already. Josevia is charging $100K for wedding photography. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that's what you need to do and like find people that are doing the thing that you want to do, if that's your reminder, that was my reminder. I would just gawk at high-end photographers being like, one day I will charge 5 figures. One day I'll get out of this 5K trap. But I had to let go of booking every single wedding because you're not going to book every single wedding. You don't need every single wedding when you're higher priced. Like there's so much work you have to do, and you have to commit to aligning your message, aligning your brand, and studying premium services and premium brands, and just kind of realizing like who you are, what you have to bring to the table, and then just packaging it in a way that's just a high-end service, the wealthier version of last year's brand. It's so much simpler, I guess, to say, but once you work through all the mindset blocks that come through when you're like, oh my gosh, what if they don't? But what if they do?
But what if they do?
What if they do?
And I feel like a lot of people need a little bit of education when it comes to building those packages, because I am of the mindset, being the person that helps people build the packages in their CRM, that what you decide you want today doesn't necessarily need to be the same thing that you're selling next month. Like, it is not that you build these packages and you have to keep them like that statically until you raise your prices or readjust your packages once a year. No, I am good. I mean, when I was originally building my photography business, I started with my full day in the lives, and every 3 people that booked, I raised it $250. And then near the end, it was $500 every 3 people that booked. And did I add things and take things out? Yes. But I mean, that's just like the name of the game. Like, I just love playing around with pricing and systems and all of these things so much. And I do feel like maybe people who are coming up now just are maybe risk averse more. I don't know quite how to put it, but I feel like they think that if someone taught them to do this, that's the only way to do it. And let me lay it out and basically offer it to like the next 50 people that inquire, instead of doing a sales call, putting it out there, seeing if the person books, if they book, what package did they book and why, and is that data that you can use to adjust the offer, the proposal, the pricing, whatever it is, before your next inquiry and a sales call. I mean, that's one of the most amazing things about being a business owner is the flexibility that we have, particularly if you don't have the entire package laid out on your website and you only have starting prices. Oh my God, you have so much flexibility to change things when an inquiry actually comes into your inbox.
Oh my gosh. So many things came up while you were talking, but I want to reference back when you were talking about the messy middle with systems and how like once the client is booked, the systems could be a mess and it kind of ruins the experience. I feel like for me, it's like that initial perception of the value, and then for you, it's like, okay, like did I just get what I paid for? You know what I mean?
Yes.
At this premium price, like are you going to deliver? I feel like both are so necessary. Like you should never want to be in the messy middle of anything, for the
Yes.
record. And I don't know if you didn't know, I'm going to put it out there. And the second thing is you're saying like, we're scrappy, we're doing stuff, we're changing things. I think about it like a scientist. Like, let's just play around. Let's get some data. Let's change it the next time. And they say the most successful entrepreneurs, you know me, I'm like reels, TikToks, whatever. They're the ones that do before they think.
Yes.
Like we get an idea and we just execute the whole thing. And if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. Like it's not even that big of a deal. It's not even that serious. Like it is serious for your job and delivery and professionalism, but on the back end, you're the boss. Why don't you play around a little bit? Have fun. Business should be fun. It should be exhilarating and it should challenge you. So those are the things that I was thinking about when you were on your spiel.
No, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I'm the queen of, have you seen those people that sell like these really expensive things out of Google Docs? I feel like knowing that you used to design websites means that you are not of that opinion. No. I would really never buy anything expensive off of a Google Doc. And in my own business, I refuse to really sell you something until I have a full sales page. So yes, several times I have spent an entire day building an entire sales page, put it out there, and then sold whatever it was. And in one case, I put it out there last summer, sold it for 3 days. And I was like, no, this is not what I thought. And people were buying it. And I was like, oh my God, no, I didn't fully think this. And then I put it back on a wait list. I mean, but like, that's what you get to do when you own your own business and you're not really afraid to just take a leap, put it out there and see what happens. Because in that case, it was an offer that I no longer sell publicly, but it is something that I integrated into my signature program because the idea was great. I just messed up on who I wanted to sell it to or offer it to. I thought it was like the answer to my new warm-up offer. And I quickly realized, no, this is not the first thing that I want to do with people. Like I need to have some kind of relationship with them first before I can put this in front of them. So like right now, it's a back pocket offer for me. It's inside my signature offer. And I feel like when it comes to wedding photography and other kind of creative services, like that minimum that you talked about, the get out of bed rate, I think that the thing that a lot of people missed, let's say, 10 years ago, was everybody thought that that lowest package should get them in the door, but that the middle is where you really wanted them to go. That's where your profit was. And I'm like, why are all of your packages not profitable? Like I would never tell you to offer a lower package that isn't really profitable because you're trying to get them to the middle. It's like, no, that bottom one still needs to get you the profit that you want. It's just the middle is where you're happy.
That just stressed me out. Why in the world are we offering unprofitable packages?
Alora, that was a thing. I mean, am I crazy? Like, did you not live in like that era? I mean, it's like everybody was like, oh, no.
What year was it?
I mean, I feel like it was like 2014, 2015, where your lowest package, it was barely profitable. It was, you put it in front of people to get them in the door, but you really didn't want too many people to book it. Whereas I was like, no, I don't care if anybody books my lowest package. Like that still makes me happy. Like, and if I calculated it and it didn't make me profit, well, then I'd need to raise that price.
That's insane. No, I have a pricing calculator. I think it's like $9. We can put in the show notes. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You're like, don't do that.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Yeah, I do think like your profit should be going up, even though there is like nothing included in the first package. I feel like that's, I don't even know how to talk. It should be profitable. That's the least of, I was going to say something and I actually just got stuck on the least. I was like, well, now I'm upset. But there are people doing this. Like I am ripping apart packages all the time, where it's like 2,500, 3K, 3,500. 3,500 has everything and more. The middle package has way too much stuff. And the first package also has way too much stuff. And I'm like, is anything profitable in here? This is why like you're not happy with your business, but you booked 50 weddings. But where's the money? Like you're offering so much stuff. You're losing so much profit on all these deliverables that you say your clients don't even want. Like you're giving them all these albums and stuff and they're like, oh, they don't even... Then why are they in the package? Like
but that's a different conversation because you just said people are booking 50 weddings and if their lowest package is 2,500, doing the math, that is a 100K wedding photographer. And so let's talk about the fact that 100K is what everybody, I mean, I don't want to say it's what they dream of, but that 100K is like that juicy 6-figure, whatever it is. But like at the end of the day, if you don't know what your people actually want, if you're not paying attention to how much time it's taking you to deliver this, then you don't really have any room to make the adjustments in order to be more profitable and be happy. Because I do feel like that is something that is left out of the conversation a lot. There's the numbers, but there's also your happiness factor. So I can do the numbers with you as a former mathematician, statistician all day. I mean, I love numbers. I love it.
Yes.
But also, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy were you working with that particular client? How happy are you on any given wedding day when you get out of bed and you think about who you're working with and what they paid you and how much time it's going to take and everything that happens on the back end? Like, are you balancing the actual numbers with your happiness to make sure that in the tagline of this podcast that you're building a business that brings you joy and a paycheck?
Oh, I love that. It's so important. And that's why I think I got myself to burnout, because I was doing it for the numbers. I was not doing it for my happiness. And so my happiness definitely paid the price. And here I am at a very high 6-figure business. At the end of 2019, I'm like, I'm going to quit. If this is what having money means, I hate that for me. I'm never with my daughter. We're trying to have number 2. And, I don't have any weekends. I'm never around. Nobody invites me to anything anymore because I'm always gone. Double header, triple headers. I think one time I did 4 back to back because what's wrong with me? What's wrong? And I just was like, oh, that's free. That's free. Instead of looking at my full calendar and being like, oh, that's 4 weddings. No, we're not doing that, which is why I have everybody should have a calendar year on the wall and just sticky notes of every wedding, every vacation you want planned, every birthday. All that stuff is important because I was just booking to book. It was addicting. It was like adrenaline. I was like, yeah, slayed that one, booked that one, nailed it. Meanwhile, 90% conversion rate, and she's left with 20 weekends at the end of the year. And every day I would be like, I don't want to get up again. I don't want to charge these batteries again. I don't want to change my SD cards. So balancing health, wellness with your business is so important, which is why I teach raising your prices and booking less weddings, because the point is to build a business, but not build a business that leads to burnout. The point is to have the time and the flexibility to live your life. A life first business that is also profitable and lights you up and doesn't burn you out and gives you creative inspiration, like you're doing things your own way. That is the dream. That's why you built this business in the first place.
And capacity is a conversation that a lot of people leave out. And I feel like I've been talking about it more because my current thing that I'm like, the hill I'm going to die on is summer is coming. For those of you that are parents, have you laid out time to actually spend time with your children? I mean, if that's what you want. I mean, I'm sure that there are some parents that are like, no, I have them all year. That's not my thing. And hey, I'm not talking to you, but I am talking to those of us that our kids are in school full time and, we just sit at the house and work all week. And then now they're home and you might be putting them in camps, you might not. But have you adjusted your life for the summer if that is something that you need? And so part of what I talk about is I take a birthday sabbatical every summer because in this household, all 3 of our birthdays are in the same 2 weeks. We're all Leos.
Oh, I love that.
It's an interesting household, Alora. We'll put it that way. But
too much of the same energy.
Yes, but every year I really try to take a full 2 weeks off because that is traditionally when we have done our family vacations. And so it is very important to me to manage my capacity. And I mean, I managed it differently when I was still doing photography sessions than I manage it now that I'm just doing systems. I mean, I just make sure that I don't have any active clients during that period. But that's the part of the conversation that people leave out is when are you laying out time on your calendar to adjust your calendar and make sure that you are not working too many weekends in a row, that you don't, sacrifice the time of your mental health, your personal well-being, and time with your family to build a business where you are never enjoying the fruits of your labor. Because I will say, I know that some people think that hustle is part of it. And to a certain degree it is. When you're figuring things out, you might take jobs that were not appealing so that you can learn from them because you have to pay your bills. But all of this has to be leading you towards eventually having a business that really works for you with happiness and pricing and capacity, all 3 of those things intertwined.
Yeah. I think it's important really to hustle in the beginning, but like you want to hustle in the beginning. I feel like that's why that word is kind of there to get it off the ground, but it should eventually get to a place where you have your systems, Coley, and you eventually outsource things to somebody who can do it better than you so you can use your time spent elsewhere. I think it's essential to have business boundaries if you can. Maybe not as tight as we have in the past. And they complain that us millennials have too many boundaries because we don't want to be burned out. Like, whatever, give me my boundaries. But like, I try not to do any really extensive tasks on like Fridays, or I have certain days for certain things. And then my son usually doesn't have school on Fridays until the fall. He's going to kindergarten. And so we spend that time together. Today's a Friday, however, and he wanted to go play with his cousin. So you know what? Go play with your cousin. That's great. Live your life. Okay. Amazing. And having that time set aside of being like, okay, how many vacations am I going to take a year with my family, with my spouse, with my friends? Like just mapping it out. Being a CEO is like kind of taking charge of your calendar, of your life, so that your business doesn't run you. Remember, you are still in that seat. So kind of laying out and maybe even making a vision board if you're into something like that, or painting a picture of like, what does your dream year look like for you? What are you doing? What is your day-to-day life? Are you going to take sabbaticals? Are you taking more sabbaticals? That's my goal. My goal is to take sabbaticals all the time. And outsourcing things, unless you want to like build a team, which you can do as a photographer. You can have an associate team. You can outsource things to a VA. You can have somebody who writes your blogs for you once you do a voice note of the wedding day at the end of like the wedding. Like there's so many ways you can outsource things that don't light you up. And instead of you being the bottleneck, it might be in your best interest to not do everything anymore. And having to tell yourself, I don't have to do everything. You can. You're amazing and we love you, but you don't have to. That's like the point of growing your business and building the systems and expanding things. So, yeah.
It's funny. I wrote two things down while you were talking, and then it turns out that they're related. So first, I've always found that the 3-year mark for portrait photographers in general is important, because that's usually when they get to the point of being burnt out and they're like, I either have to take this seriously and actually build a business that will be a business, or they kind of go back to it being an expensive hobby, if you will. That's the 3-year mark. And then I'm wondering if it's different for wedding photographers, but you started talking about outsourcing, and I'm wondering if those aren't related. Like, what is the time frame for most wedding photographers where they need to start thinking long-term about capacity and making sure that they're not burning out? And does that correlate with their need or their interest in potentially outsourcing more in their business?
Oh, that's such a good question. I mean, it's different depending on what your business is looking like. If it's busy, if it's booked and busy, and you're on the verge of burnout, that is your sign immediately. Like red light emergency, outsource something as ASAP as possible. But it just depends like on how your business is growing and if it's growing. If it's not growing, then maybe you shouldn't outsource quite yet. Unless you outsource your social medias and then like work on your blogs and stuff like that. It just depends on what the issue is. But for me personally, I think my 3rd year of business is when I was like, I'm burning it to the ground. And eventually, I outsourced my editing, which was hard. That was emotional. That was almost grief. I don't know what it is about nobody else can do skin tones and presets like me. I don't know what it is. But finally, I was like, let me just try. And I mean, I had to pair up with like 5 different editors till I found the perfect one who got it right every time. But y'all, when I delivered my sneak peeks, my 48-hour surprise sneak peeks to my clients, and I shipped off all those sneak peeks and the full Lightroom catalog to get a wedding delivered, completely edited, and culled to my liking with my approval in 11 days, Ooh. You know my clients were obsessed with me. Check. Look, Alora Rachelle photography. All 5 stars. All of them. Go ahead. Do the research. Wedding Wire, The Knot, whatever. They were upset. They didn't even have time to be like, where are my photos? They came back from their honeymoon like, there's my photos. Okay? So that outsourcing in terms of systems led to a 5-star client experience and also gave me time. My daughter was like, 2 or 3? We just hung out every day. We had brunch. Girl went to hands-on museums. I was not sitting on the computer. That was worth its weight in gold for me. I checked all the boxes. Checked all the boxes. But I think that that's like the whole point of like letting something go, dealing with the pain, which I don't know why it's so painful for us to emotionally detach from things like that, like your presets or your email inbox or whatever, what have you. But when you do, gosh, the time that it frees up. And like when it comes to like my family, because you were saying some of you probably don't like want to spend time with your kids or ship them off. Like I got to a point where I was like, my daughter's 9 now. So this story is like old. And I only have so many weekends where she wants to even hang out with us. Okay. Adolescence, teenager, she already has an attitude. And me and my husband are like, oh my, we are not ready. We are not ready. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we only have so many summers left where she's actually going to want to hang out with us. She's going to be hanging out with her friends. She's going to be traveling. Yes. She probably will go to school abroad because she wants to be an artist. Like those days are limited. You have to think about these things. And so, you know, luckily my son is still 5 and everything is Spider-Man, but it won't be for long. So you have to decide, like, what is important to you in your life? What is important to you in your business? And how can you kind of fuse the two together to make it work?
Yes. And I mean, you just literally said my life. I don't know. I don't know that you know this, but Chloe behind me this is very misleading. She is like 9 in this photograph, I think. She's about to turn 16. So my life is very different. Yeah. So I mean, literally. But here's the thing. My child still likes to talk to us. She still likes to play Uno with us. But I don't know that I even have like 5 more months of this part of life because she's in choir. She's doing musical theater. She's doing dance. She's doing all of these things. And like her friends are slowly creeping in more than they ever have before. But I will say, I spent a lot of time with my daughter when I was building my business. Every time someone's like, Coley, I don't get how you like do it all. I'm like, but I didn't do it when she was little. I didn't do it when she was homeschooled for a year. I didn't do it when I virtual schooled her for 2 years. Like I didn't have all of the time to work on my business. So I had to have the systems to make it work. I also had to have the prices so that I could outsource the things and spend all the time with her. And I'm very happy that you shared like your experience of outsourcing your editing. Because I think when a lot of photographers get held up is they think if they attempt to hire one person and it doesn't work out, outsourcing my editing is just not for me. And so I take every opportunity to emphasize it may take multiple editors and you do have to give them feedback. They are not mind readers. If you give them your gallery and it is not to your liking, it is your responsibility to educate them on why it is not to your liking, what you would do differently, and tell them to try again. Outsourcing your editing can work for everyone, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for everyone the first time.
Yeah. And also don't be afraid to have complicated conversations. Listen, I am so confrontational that it bothers everyone around me. Okay. But like, give feedback. Like, hey, these skin tones are a little orange. Can we dial that back? Turn down the saturation. Can you copy my exact edits? And in this lighting situation, can we pull back? Like if it's full sun, take the contrast down. Like they don't need to be popping off the page. Like give very specific feedback. If you need to have a Loom video and walk them through your galleries and what your style. Hello. Like you can't outsource something and not educate. That I thought that was a given. I'm so sorry. Like
no, it's not a given. And also giving yourself the time to get it right before you need it. So like I am constantly telling people winter is when you need to get your editing in line. And even if it means that you are paying someone to edit a gallery that you have already edited, that is the learning curve. That is when you take the time. Because in summer, for wedding photographers, that is not when you need to be training somebody to edit your weddings, not when you are in the thick of actually photographing the weddings. There has got to be some like pre-planning, if you will, for outsourcing. You cannot just expect to turn over anything, blogging, social media, editing, none of it without there being like a little period of transition where you have given yourself the time and opportunity to have hard conversations and give good feedback, because all they want to do is do a good job for you. No one takes a job with the idea that they're going to do a shitty job for you, but it's up to you to communicate how to get what you need from them.
Yeah, and I mean, to summarize it in a beautiful way, like slow season is for systems. There you go. Like clean up your systems. I feel like most photographers think that slow season is for getting your editing queue caught up and to tweak your website. I'm not even kidding. That's all I hear. I just gotta play with this website. It's November. And I'm like, you have 20 weddings to edit. And I'm like, you should outsource. Oh, well, I don't know if I can do that. Or, drama mindset thing here. And I'm like, I promise you, like, if you do this one thing, you'll have the hours freed up to finish your website or work on your SEO, which is going to pay off months later. Like, there's so many things that maybe you're blocking the success of that path because you're afraid of, I don't know, being let down or having to go through several editors. Honestly, I went through editors for about a year or two before I came on the one that I love. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do this again. I had a bad attitude about everything. Like, here you go, submit, free trial. All right, let's see. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be so for real. I'm just going to be so for real with this feedback and just kind of like really like walk them through. But they were spot on with the skin tones at first glance. So I was like, okay, we can work with this. Now, some people were making my people like green and blue. And I was like, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so know when to leave. But also know that nobody can read your mind, and you got to be patient. You have to be willing to say, like, this is annoying right now. It's going to pay off months later. It's going to pay off years later. And yeah, I mean, so many things go into it. We talked about so many things. I have no idea where to take this conversation next. But build a life first business, systems, pricing, positioning. Like, this is just the things of running a business, But when you have these skills and when you invest in the education and learning the processes, you're going to have a business that you love, and you're going to be able to be away from your desk and have a summer, take a 2-week, 3 triple birthday sabbatical, which is crazy to me. I don't like every restaurant. I just like picture like 3 free Sundays everywhere you go. But like, I love that for her. Like, she built that for herself. So, I mean, that's amazing.
No, it's so good. And the funny thing is, there's only 4 days between my birthday and my husband's birthday, and I am older. So unfortunately, those 4 days every year are like absolute torture because my husband says I robbed the cradle, and like he makes all these old people jokes. And I'm like, we're coming. Oh, and Alora, it was so bad. The year that we gave birth, I say we gave birth, the year that I gave birth to our daughter, she came after James' birthday. So it's me, and then it's James, and then it's Chloe. But like the 3 days in between our birthdays, I was like, I can absolutely not give birth because the birth certificates give your age. And I just couldn't have my daughter's birth certificate say that I was 31 and that my husband was 30. And so, I mean, that's just a little peek into, no, I was like, I absolutely. And honestly, the day before my husband's birthday, I almost electrocuted myself. And we went to the ER, and I was like, no, I can't give birth today. Like, you have to wait until after midnight.
Holy, please.
It's all right. It's all right. I mean, I have lots of funny. My pregnancy was so horrifying that it is nice to think about the funny things. But you said you don't know where this conversation is going. I know exactly where this conversation is going because you talked about building a life first business. Mm-hmm. And that is what you help wedding photographers do. So you have a launch right around the corner. So like, tell me about your webinar and then where they can find information about it.
So I am teaching a free live masterclass about the 10K wedding formula, what's working right now in the wedding industry to get 10K bookings. I'm showing pricing examples. I'm walking you through our 3-part system about the things that you need to be perceived as a premium brand, because apparently people say the word luxury is just, too much. So we'll say premium, high-end, whatever it is. Bougie, expensive,
I like
wedding
bougie.
Business. Bad and bougie is mine forever. I say it too much. My husband's sick of it. But the point being is that I really want photographers to go from these 3 to 5K to 10K and beyond. And I have helped them do it. My team is helping them do it. And I want to be able to show you what's possible. So go to alorarachelle.com/10K, sign up, RSVP. You'll get the ticket. You'll get the ad event, add it to your calendar. Don't miss it. It's going to be so fun. And if you show up live, you get a free pricing audit from me, which is insane because I charge like money for that. Good money. So definitely show up live, RSVP, and I'd love to help you raise your packages to 10K. Yeah.
Yeah, guys. So just so that you know, we are recording this at the beginning of May, and that is how excited I am for you to hear this episode. We're going to get it edited and slapped up the same way that Alora did that when I was on her podcast. Now, guys, my episode with Alora on her podcast was so amazing. And it wasn't even what we planned on talking about. We ended up talking about the importance of client experience videos. And so that is linked in the show notes. I really think that it is one of the best guest episodes that I've ever done. And so you should definitely go give her a follow and listen to that episode at the same time. But I hope that what you have gotten from this conversation is that while there is no one formula to build a business of your dreams, there are things that you should be considering. And I think that we've covered most of them, if not all of them, in today's episode. So if you have not sat down and thought about how happy your business is currently making you, what your current capacity is, and what you can do to take your business to the next level, this is like us waving a flag at you, telling you, now is the time. All right. That's it for this episode. See you next time.